Hello, I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer. Welcome to Gospel Minded, where we spend a few minutes each week talking about our psychology, our emotions, behavioral health, and we reflect on how these important topics relate to the gospel reading for Sunday. Like always, this isn't intended to be any kind of substitute for actually going to church or spiritual direction, counseling, or therapy if you're engaged in those sort of practices. But like we know, so often our psychology, things of the mind, and our spiritual life tend to go hand in hand. Now, if you're watching this, you realize that I'm in a different environment this week, and I've got my friend with me who you've seen a few weeks ago, Mr. John Norberg. Thank you for welcoming me to your office in your community here in Maryland. I'm so glad to see you.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon as we talk through some of these important things. Now, last time you and I met and we did this program, we were talking about money because you've got such a background in business, financial planning, and that video was excellent. If you haven't seen it, you should go back and have a look.
Yes.
But I know, John, that you, like me, also have a background in philosophy. And when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about psychology, I think we would be remiss if we didn't acknowledge that there is definitely an element of philosophy that comes into play with that.
Yes.
Now, today is Ascension Sunday, and I want to read just a little bit of the gospel for you because I think it ties in this idea of the philosophical approach to what we are talking about, things of the mind. So here's the gospel. I want to read it. It comes from St. Mark today. It says, Jesus said to his disciples, "Go into the world and proclaim the gospel to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, and whoever does not believe will be condemned. These signs will accompany those who believe. In my name, they will drive out demons. They will speak new languages. They will pick up serpents with their hands. And if they drink any deadly thing, it will not harm them. They will lay hands on the sick, and they will recover." Wow. Talk about epic and mighty. You know, the psalm talks about the Lord going up and the blare of trumpets. I think there's something just naturally psychologically about the idea of that which is epic, about that which is a worthwhile mission that just naturally draws us in. So John, I'm just interested to hear your perspective. Look at this environment. We're in your office. You've got all these great books, these great stories. So many of them are epic tales. What is it that draws us to those things which are magnificent in their emphasis on mission, much like the Lord is talking about in the gospel today?
Yeah, great question, Garrett. I think one of the things that we as humans experience oftentimes is a desire to do great things, to go out and commit epic deeds. It's the reason that fairy tales or epics appeal to us. It's why, to this day, Beowulf is still such an appealing tale, because we want to do great things. We want to be epic, right? And I see this, for instance, in my own financial practice as one of, we were talking about before this video, what are those hidden biases or those hidden drivers that we might not necessarily reflect on? And I think one of them is this drive to do something great. And when it comes to our finances in particular, which again is my world, we see this sometimes, or I see this in my practice. We want to be wealthy, but why do we want to be wealthy? And I think one of the noblest reasons I've heard in talking with my clients is because they want to be able to do something great for their community, for their family, for the people whom they love. And maybe even if they've never met them, one of the most admirable things that I see about those who do achieve great wealth is seeing the ways in which they give back. They're able to do great things, whether it's, building a hospital in Africa, or helping a community that might not have access to education to get that access so that they can better themselves. So these might, not necessarily be the stuff that we immediately think of when it comes to fairy tales, but it corresponds both, I think, with Christ's mission, his commission to us to go out and bring the world to him, but also to that epicness that we all desire in our own lives, to do something great. I mean, as a psychologist, do you see that in your clientele when you're working with people?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fascinating. Now, you mentioned that this is something that becomes apparent to you in finances,
Yeah.
and I see that too when I'm working with clients. There's this innate desire to really flourish and do something tremendous with life, regardless of what that looks like. It can be on whatever scale. People just really have a tendency and a desire to thrive and to flourish. I think there's something natural about that. And this idea that the Lord gives today of mission, of setting out, going out to accomplish, that can be taken in so many ways. We're human beings, so we have to be conscientious of the fact that we need our time to rest and recuperate. But there is this natural tendency to set out, to step forth, and a desire to complete a mission, to do a job, to really find fulfillment in the work that we're doing, whatever that looks like. And so it's just really edifying to hear that you see that in the world of finances, which some people would say is decidedly secular, but not so. It can definitely relate to exactly what the Lord is talking about in the gospel today. Go out to the world, bring this message that I give to you to those in the farthest corners. Really, talk about epic. My goodness.
Yeah, and I'll build on that just a little bit further if I can. I know that being a psychologist, you're intimately familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
When we see that those initial needs are met, food, shelter, clothing, etc., then it becomes about, well, what else can we do? And, maybe selfishly that's, how can I enrich myself? But again, thinking about epic deeds, how can I enrich or help not just myself, but the others around me? And sometimes we think that this can only be done on an epic level, but if we think about perhaps Christ and what he's calling us to do in this gospel, it's not just, to go out and do mighty deeds and, drink poison and not be effective. Those are all, it sounds like a wizard out of a fairy tale because it is so cool and so epic. But I think for me, one of the things that I'm hearing embedded in everything that you're talking about is this sense, I'm reminded of Saint Mother Teresa, where we're not all called to do great things. Obviously not every one of us can be a billionaire building hospitals and schools and whatnot and doing all these epic cool things. But she says we are not all called to do great things, but we are all called to do small things with great love. And I think embedded in Christ's words, and also too in the words that you're telling us, is that calling. To do great things is wonderful, but it is also great, perhaps, I think, to do small things with the great love, and maybe even harder. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And how epic is that? What kind of an impact does that sort of work leave on the world? Those small things done with great love. I read an article not too long ago, and it was written kind of in jest because it was in a satirical publication. But it was the comment was, the person of the year is a housewife, 34-year-old woman who's taking care of her kids and cooks dinners for her family and makes sure everybody under her roof is happy. And it was written in jest because we think of like Time's person of the year, these people who are doing all these magnificent things and have all these accolades. And those people rightly are doing some impressive things. But the stuff that we can do under our own roofs, raising our families, taking care of our clients, stuff that may not end up on the cover of Time magazine, but wow, talk about epic. Talk about the difference it makes in the lives of those that you and I encounter on a day-to-day basis. Really irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Lord's words in Scripture that he's highlighting all of his deeds, and he says, and you will do mightier things than these. And there's something so consoling about that. And I just think about like this video here. I mean, this video has the potential to reach millions and millions and millions of people. That's probably not going to happen. But because of technology, because of where we are as a society, it's possible. think about the Lord's public ministry for 33 years. He was relegated to a particular part of the world where only a certain number of people saw him. By our work, we can do greater deeds even than these. You think about the people that the Lord healed and ministered to. It's well documented in scriptures. Think about our hospitals. Just here in rural Maryland, how many people are healed on a daily basis through modern medicine and through the medical advances that we've had. The Lord said we'll do greater things even than him, not in spite of him, but with him and through him. And there's just something that's so gripping about that, and it just makes the words of today's gospel so relevant and so consoling and good to hear. The Lord sends us out, and so now here we are, please Lord, going out, trying to do this good work, to fulfill this epic mission. It's just really something, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do all things in him who strengthens me, right? And that means things that are both great and epic and splashed across Time magazine, but also, and perhaps especially, those that are small and humble, but done with great love. And I think that's what the Lord is calling us to in today's gospel. Your thoughts, Garrett?
Yeah, I love that. And I love that we're here having this conversation, just two friends sitting talking about these higher things. Talk about epic, talk about small deeds done with great love. John, it's so good to have you here and just great to visit with you. Thank you again for welcoming me to your beautiful office, and I'm just glad to get to see you. Thank you for being with us. If you found this material helpful, good, epic, I hope that you'll hit like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer with Mr. John Norberg. We are gospel-minded. Take care.